Hi guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thanks very much for joining me today. I am so sorry that I haven't had any reviews up now for about a week and a half. I've got so many to do, and for some reason, the more things that I have, the more my head gets muddled in terms of trying to manage what I'm going to do. I'm doing about 3 or 4 different reviews at the same time, and I need to work out a better system of doing it because I'm not very good at doing things like that, so I apologize. But once I get myself sorted out, the reviews will be coming a little bit more frequently, hopefully. Anyway, as you can see here, I've got a review of Artify's brush tip and chisel tip markers. Now, this set here is their 108 set. Just sure if you can see that. And the other set is the 24 set of skin tones, which I'll show you in just a second. Now, what I want to say is, for quite a long time, I've said this in a couple of other videos, for quite a long time, anybody wanting to develop their skills with alcohol markers and colored pencils. For a lot of alcohol marker artists, not all of them, but for a lot of them, they combine marker and pencil together. The marker is the lay down of the color, the vast majority of the color, and then they use color pencils just to come in and sharpen up the detail. Up until recently, and when I say recently, I'm talking within the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, maybe a little bit longer. The only real markers that people could go for were the Japanese ones, the COPICs. And they were certainly deemed as the industry standard. And back about 5 or 6 years ago, there wasn't many alternatives that were as good, or if not better, than what was on the market. But that has very much changed, and it's a really good thing that it has changed, because the industry standard markers are incredibly expensive. There's things going on there with the company as well that a lot of their fan base are not happy with, which I've already spoke about in another video, which I'll link down below if you want to go across and see that. But companies like Artify are putting their versions of these markers out, and not only are they much more affordable, but some of them it's really difficult to tell the difference between the industry standard markers, so to speak, and the likes of Artify or some of the other brands that I've already talked about in the past. Let's just take a look at these markers. So they come in these really sturdy cases, and all we got to do is, with this 108 one, there's a hinge on the back here, and then these just pop down. They are a little bit stiff, but they pop down like that, and then this 108 set has a hinge here. You get this inside, which is basically a swatch that you can use and keep, which I always think is quite beneficial. Saves you having to make one yourself. The paper here as well, it's kind of like a Bristol board, maybe like a Bristol vellum surface, so it's not cheap or anything, and the markers will take well on it. I never use them, just in case I give the products away in a giveaway or anything like that, and I don't want if I end up giving these away in a giveaway or something like that, I'd rather that the person who wins it decides what they want to do with this. So that's why I never fill them out on these. I just do them separately. But as you can see here, a really nice selection of colors in this 108 set. Now, in terms of numbers overall and the various different sets that you can get, I'll have all of that over on the Art Gear Guide written review. The reason why I do that is because occasionally sets will change. They will maybe take a set down and add a different numbered set or something like that, and it's just much easier for me to update. Same with prices. All the prices will be over in the Art Gear Guide, the written review. If you want to know all the prices, go across. The links for the written one will be down below. But as you can see here, a really nice selection in this 108 set. But I'm going to show you what these colors look like in just a second from the swatch that I've completed. So let me just move that to the side. The next set here is the 24 skin tones. Now this is just, the lid just pops off here. But again, you have a little swatch booklet that you can use. And this is the skin tones that you get in here. Now, as you can see here, there's a blender in here, and you also get a blender in the 108 set. So when they say 24, what they mean is 23 colors with a blender. Same with that 108 set, 108, but there's really 107 colors, and the 108th marker is a blender. So listen, I've got to be honest with you. In all the markers I've purchased and reviewed over the years, I personally have never ever used any. Well, I've tried to use them, I've tested them, that type of thing. But when it comes to doing my own personal artwork, I've never ever used any of these blenders. Now, that's not to say that, you know, they're not useful. There are marker artists that can get really nice effects with them. But they're just something that I've never, for whatever reason, just really taken to. So that's the 24 skin tone set. Now let's take a look at them in a swatch. So as you can see here, this is the 108 set. I've had to use another page, but I'll show you that in a second. So nice selection of yellows, oranges. There are a few skin tone colors in this 108 set as well. So if you just wanted to get the 108 set, I would say that you've got enough skin tone sets in here, especially if you're like an anime manga type artist, and you want a set for that. I would say that you've got enough skin tone colors in this 108 set to be able to do some really nice art. You've got some nice blues here as well, some really nice greens actually. The thing I like about this set is, and it's something that isn't normally seen in these types of sets, is that there's some really nice pastel shades, not loads, but like really light pastel shades, like this G401, B201, R900. Some of the numbering and stuff like that is a little bit odd, but I'll get into that in a second. The next page has the rest of the greys. So you can see here, on the bottom of this sheet here, we just had like green greys, blue greys. And then on this sheet here, we've got all the warm greys and all the cool greys. There's obviously there's a couple missing here, like it goes cool grey 0, cool grey 1, cool grey 2, cool grey 4, so there's a jump there, cool grey 6. But in my opinion, that's absolutely fine, because when you do the blending, sometimes with the likes of the cool grey 3 and the cool grey 5, you really won't notice much of a difference between that gap. And so I'm absolutely fine with that. Same with the warm greys here. Warm grey starts off with warm grey 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's no warm grey 0 or warm grey 1. So this NG09, there's no, the black color that is in here is in the skin tone set, but this color here, NG09, which I'm guessing is neutral grey, is as close to black as you're going to get in any case. This one down at the bottom. The skin tone sets, again, really nice selection. Again, if you're doing anime or anything like that, there's a nice group in here of colors, especially for like lips and things like that there. So I was well impressed with the selection of skin tone colors. Now let's take a look at the pen themselves. Okay, so the markers themselves are kind of like triangular, rounded triangular. So they're not like, you know, pyramid shape or anything like that. They're rounded. There is a clear distinction. Along one side of the barrel, you have really large icons depicting the brush tip end and the broad tip end, or chisel tip end, whatever you want to call it. In the center between those two icons is the Artify name and logo, and then after that it just says ANB18 and then the art marker, or sorry, art marker, not the art marker. Now, when you pick these pens up, immediately you can tell which end is the brush tip and which end is the broad tip, because there is this grey line in between, or kind of like at the top where the brush nib is, and it comes in between the actual lid. On the end caps here as well, you've got the pigment number, so they're on both sides of the marker. There's no pigment names, so it's just the numbers. And the numbers, incidentally, the pigment numbers are on the swatches that you get with the markers as well. The nibs themselves, now, the brush nib is really nice. I have done some artwork with these markers, which I'll show you in just a second. I had no problems whatsoever. I was able to get the finest detail with them because they were really nice. I refer to them as sharp. They're quite sharp, these brush nibs. They go into like a nice sharp point, which allows you to get the detail, and it also allows you to, with a little bit of extra pressure, you know, get that fan out into that brush, which I'll show you that in a second. On the very end, the opposite side here, sorry, we have this chisel nib. Now, what I found nice about these markers was the ink flow is really nice. It's not, I'm sure maybe with one or two you might get a little bit of overflow, but with the colors that I used for the artwork, I didn't experience that, and I still haven't experienced it yet. The flow of ink from them seems to be quite controlled, is the word I'm looking for. So before we get on to any testing, this is the artwork that I done. I actually, for some reason, I just couldn't think of something. I wanted to do something really nice that was going to show the markers off. I couldn't think of anything. It took me quite a while to think of something, and then it was coming up to the 4th of May, and I thought, you know what, I'll do something Star Wars related. So I done Ahsoka, who's as an adult here, if you're not familiar, as an adult is in the Mandalorian series, which is on Disney Plus, but she is also in the Star Wars Clone Wars animation as a younger Jedi. But anyway, so the face isn't that big. If you look at it in comparison to, say, I'm just using this as a reference for size, the marker itself, the face is about the size of the pen lid. So it's quite small. And so sometimes when you are working in small areas like that, and especially with markers, it can be a little bit untidy sometimes. But with these markers, going back to the control of the ink that came out of them, I was able to work really, really well and detailed, even in this small area. So I was really impressed with that especially because with these white areas here of the face, you know, I had to work around those, and that's where the nib, the really sharp point of the brush nib came into play. It allowed me to do that, and obviously in combination with the good flow of ink and the paper, there was no feathering, so it didn't go over the lines, it didn't go into the white areas, which is, you know, a big concern, because this is part of this character, these white lines on the face. So I was overall impressed with the way the markers performed for me. Okay, so I've lifted up Cool Grey 1, Cool Grey 2, sorry, where are they there? Cool Grey 1, Cool Grey 2, Cool Grey 4, Cool Grey 6, and Cool Grey 8. And I'm just going to do a simple blending exercise on some marker paper here, and show you how both the brush nib and the chisel nib perform when it comes to the Artify blending ability. So until I get some color down here, it might go in and out of focus a little bit. I apologize for that. So with the if you're not familiar with blending with markers, this is just the technique I use. It's not, you know, the only technique. I kind of flick out like this. So this is the Cool Grey 1. I'll go and get the next one that I'm going to use and come inwards, flicking out again, so that there's not a definitive line between the two blends. And then same here, because I know I'm going to be coming in now with the next Cool Grey. But before I do, I just come back over and make sure I iron any lines or anything like that out. Next up is the Cool Grey 4. So we're going quite a bit darker now, but you'll see here again, if you keep this kind of like feather motion or flicking motion, sorry, it'll help you blend in really nicely. And then just before you're about to take off and go on to the next one, just flick it out on the other side as well. Come back in with the number 2. Next up is the Cool Grey 6. And then finally here, the Cool Grey 8, which is going to be even darker. And this last bit here, I can keep this line here at the end because it doesn't really matter. So that's the Cool Grey 8. Just coming back in here, working my way backwards. Then the Cool Grey 4. And that's really about it. I don't really need to go any further back here with the Cool Grey 2 or anything like that. So you can see there that it's a really nice blend, and that's what I was referring to earlier on, that it misses out, the Cool Greys miss out the 3 and the 5. They're not really necessary, as you can see here. With regards to, I'm just going to put something in here of a little bit of color just to keep the camera from focusing out. So I'm going to do exactly the same blend, but I'm going to use the chisel part of the markers. I personally very rarely use the chisel tip of the markers, but So there you can see, not a bad blend there from the chisel nib either, so quite happy with that. Now, finally, before I go here, one of the things that's really good, like I was saying earlier on about the detail that you can get with these the brush nib on the Artify. I should be able to zoom in a little bit more here. I'll have some images up of this, don't worry, you'll be able to see them over in the Art Gear guide. I'll have some images of this up over in the Art Gear guide so you can get it, you'll be able to get a closer look at them. But with the brush tip, you can really vary the type of line work that you want to do. So you can see there's quite a wide variation of line work that you can get, and that's just because of the type of nib that they have here, the brush nib. I'm not 100% sure whether you can change this brush nib out and like reverse it like you can with some. I've tried it with one or two of these, but I wasn't able to do it, and I didn't want to force it just in case it's not something that you're supposed to do. I couldn't find anything on the website to notify me that you could do this, but I've sent an email off to the company, and when they reply, which I'm sure they will do, I'll put it up over on the written review. So if you want to know about the ability to reverse the brush nib, like some markers you can take the brush nib out if it's like if you've been using it for a year or so, and you can sometimes take them out and turn them around and you've got a brand new brush nib there. Okay guys, that's it for my review here of the Artify brush tip and chisel tip markers. I was really happy with them. The 108 set has got a nice selection, a good decent selection. Same with the skin tones. Like I say, they do have other sets, but I'll have all those listed over on the written review of the Art Gear guide. When it comes down to comparing them against something like the Japanese markers, I don't like naming other brands whenever I'm doing a review, so you know what I'm referring to. The biggest difference is the number of colors available in the Japanese markers. Now, sometimes that can be really overwhelming for an artist to have so many colors, and when you look at a lot of those colors, some of them are just almost identical. It really is the minutest of differences between certain shades. But one of the good things is, I mean, with the COPICs, I think that there's like 350 or something along those lines of the colors available, and like I say, it can be overwhelming. I wouldn't suggest, I don't think that having that type of number is the right way to go. But maybe like a 200 with the alcohol markers, but ensuring as well that there's some pastel shades in there. Now there's some really nice, like I pointed out, some really nice pastel shades here in this 108 set, but it would be nice to have a few more overall. Other than that, really impressed with the performance of the markers. You can see from the artwork that I've done that the markers performed really well. Like I said, the paper that I used for this was the Strathmore 400 series Bristol Smooth, and it was the same for the swatches as well. They were in fact actually they were done on Strathmore 300 series Bristol Smooth. Just one final thing before I go. The blending test that I done here and showed you, it does come through a little bit on the back of the paper. Again, this is Bristol Smooth. It's not Strathmore, it's Frisk's, which is a little bit thinner than the Strathmore, but it's it does come through a little bit, but it didn't go through far enough where it was like going under the table underneath it. So it's just another thing to remember if you're looking for these markers. Very, very few alcohol markers, especially whenever you're coming down to do like a blend like this where you're going to have to go over a few times. I can't think of any of them that won't come through, like a Bristol Smooth or a Bristol Vellum paper. A lot of the times it's down to the paper as to whether this happens or not, but I just wanted to show you this and not forget to show you. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this review. Like I say, I've got loads of reviews coming up, and I really look forward to seeing you all again soon, guys. Please don't forget, if you want, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Instagram, I put work in progress shots up, photos up of the artworks that I'm working on, that type of thing. If I get a new product, I'll put a photograph up of it over there as well. Also as well, if you're wanting to learn from some of the tips and techniques that I have adopted into my artwork, I have a Patreon channel, which I'll have a link for down below. You can go across, take a little look at that, see if that's something that you might be interested in. If you've got any questions, please, by all means, put them down in the comment section, or if you would rather ask me them in private, send me them via email. Anyway, guys, thanks very much. I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Bye.